Just leaving the Emirates, where Arsenal have lost 3-2 to Villarreal, and they also lost the penalty shootout that took place after the game 4-3, following misses from Gabriel, Mikel Moreno and Noni Madueke, who had only just come on to make his Arsenal debut. A debut to forget really in that sense, but it won't matter too much because Arsenal had already lost the game. But I leave here today with a strange feeling really, because we expected Arsenal to really kick on this summer. This is the season that they have to win the Premier League. They finished second 3 times. But I just don't get the impression that they're really ready to seize the moment and trump Liverpool and Manchester City this season. I think some of the same old problems were clear for Arsenal throughout the course of the game. Gabriel Martinelli just running down blind alleys. I know that's quite a harsh term, but that's how it feels at times, because he really doesn't know how to use the ball effectively. He just sort of dribbles at the fullback. Did get a few nice crosses into the box, and he's a dangerous player, got amazing pace, and that's a rare trait in the modern game really, because there's a lot of robotic football and it's centred around passing and possession. But Martinelli has that raw speed to take most defenders on, and I think he was so sharp in the first season that Arsenal competed for the title. I think he got 15 Premier League goals, but he just hasn't really fulfilled the heights expected of him. It really would be a shame to see him not fulfill that potential, because it's clear he's a fantastic player on his day. He's still young as well. But a really disappointing afternoon, or evening I should say, for Arsenal. The biggest bright spark was actually Max Dowman, who came on the hour mark with 30 minutes to go and was absolutely electrifying. He won a penalty. He was so dangerous. But we've just been speaking to Mikel Arteta, and he says that Dowman's actually going to go on holiday now because he hasn't had a break yet. And I find that a little bit strange, because I know that Arsenal need to manage his minutes, but it's clear that he's ready to play in the Premier League. He's a fantastic player. And what I also find strange, if I'm being brutally honest, is that Arsenal have spent 52 million on Noni Madueke, because it's clear Max Dowman has what it takes to play on that right-hand side and support Saka. Obviously, Saka will be the undisputed #1 right winger, but Wanyeri can play there as well, and Dowman is going to get minutes because he's good enough. He can take players on. He made stuff happen to win the penalty. And I was actually watching him, and it sounds ridiculous, but there were shades of Lionel Messi about the way he glides past players with the immaculate close control, dropping the shoulder. I know we shouldn't put too much pressure on players too soon, but honestly, watching Dowman, it was a sight to behold. It was absolutely brilliant. And obviously we've seen him do it recently as well against Newcastle, and a few great cameos on tour in Asia. But as I was saying, I really don't feel Arsenal are ready to make that next step at this moment in time, but I'd be happily proven wrong. There's still hope they might recruit another player, but at the moment, the noises I'm hearing on Emergence aren't really positive. It's not a given that they're going to do that deal. A few players were obviously missing from Arsenal's squad today. Kai Havertz has picked up a muscle injury, but felt something in training yesterday, so on Tuesday, and Arteta said he didn't feel it would be right to risk him. Leandro Trossard remains injured as well at this moment in time, but there's optimism both he and Ricardo Calafiori would be back to face Athletic Club at the weekend. But it's just, I don't feel like Arsenal are quite ready to start the season. I think it's clear Manchester United have improved a lot since last year. They won't be rollovers on the opening day, particularly with Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha coming in. I really feel like Arsenal need to start showing us that they're ready to hit that ground running, because the margin for error this season is going to be minimal. Continuing the video from home, because it was quite loud where I was walking at the Emirates last night. But as I was saying, I think the margin for error is very minimal this season, not least because Liverpool have really improved. Obviously brought in a load of high-profile additions. Alexander Isak could yet arrive, but they've obviously got Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, Hugo Ekitike. Manchester City are going to be better than they were last season as well. They've brought in Tijani Reinders, Ryan Cherky, Ryan Aït-Nouri. And I just don't see at the moment things clicking for Arsenal. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Obviously, it was Gyokeres' first Emirates outing and first start, but it's clear there needs to be a little bit of a time for that partnership with some of his teammates to blossom. The thing about Gyokeres is a lot of his goals last season, if you watch them in the Portuguese league, he's got a lot of space to motor into on the counter-attack. He's big, he's strong. And we saw glimpses of that yesterday. His bullishness around the box and his sort of penetrative runs are really sort of noticeable. He's got that real desire and hunger to score goals. He's aggressive. He pressed the Villarreal defence and goalkeeper. And he likes to sort of create that half a yard just to get a shot off. He's not afraid to do that. And he doesn't actually strike me as someone that if he misses a few chances, he's going to let it bother him. He'll just keep going and going. So I think Arsenal need to work out how to get the best from him and how to create the space for him, because last night Villarreal played with a deep block and there was no space at all. It was just sort of like crosses into a compact 6-yard box, and Gyokeres was sort of trying to get on the end of them, but it was a cameo that I don't think we can read too much into at this moment in time. Obviously, would have been nice to get an early goal, but we were speaking to Mikel Arteta after the game, and I asked him, do you feel the squad is ready? Are you happy where you're at this stage of pre-season? He said he felt Arsenal were naive in some of their defensive actions, which I think is fair to say because they're very sloppy actually, and it's not very often that you see Arsenal being sloppy defensively. Caught out on the counter-attack a few times. Gabriel came on for the last half an hour. He looks a bit rusty, which is understandable given that he's been out for such a long time with his hamstring injury. But he also said that Gyokeres is 100% confident that he'll be mentally ready. So he said, I think mentally and understanding what he needs to do, he will be 100% or more because he's so willing. He's so confident as well that he can deliver for us straight away. I have no doubt that he'll be in a really good place. A bit more on his how long it might take Gyokeres to click. He said, I hope just days. Every day in training, I think he's getting a really good feeling. I think he's built connections as well outside of the pitch, which I think is important with the players that are going to help him to be in the right position that he needs to be in. He hasn't trained with the team for 2 months, so he's done 5 or 6 sessions before today. I think he will take another step in the right direction on Saturday and he'll be in a better condition. So it's clear that Gyokeres needs a little bit of time to adapt. Obviously, if they had got him in earlier, maybe those connections would have been a little bit stronger by now. But to me, it feels as though Arsenal sort of what they're trying to do is, not too dissimilar from what they've done in the past 2 seasons, which I think is a little bit of a problem because I think if you look at Liverpool and Man City, as I was saying, they found new ways to attack and score goals. I think Arsenal are still very reliant on Bukayo Saka. They're missing that creativity in the middle of the park. I still think that number 10 signing would be, a game changer maybe, someone that can play off the left as well, because Martinelli and Trossard have gone a little bit stale, but obviously still key players for the club. Christian Norgard looked really good last night, I have to say. A little bit surprising that he started the last 2 pre-season friendlies over Martin Zubimendi. I'm not sure if Zubimendi's minutes are just being managed, but Arteta loves those big and strong players. Norgard pops up with a header from a corner at the back post. Looked strong physically, looked tall. Same with Gyokeres. I mean, he's only 6'2", but he's got big, broad shoulders, and I think he's almost like a bulldozer. The way he's sort of like, when the ball's around him, he's sort of so hungry and aggressive. And I think Arsenal have been really lacking that over the past couple of seasons. But it's going to be a tough start. Some of the games that they've got, obviously go to United, they go to Liverpool, they go to Newcastle, Man City at home in the opening 6, I believe. So it's going to be tough. And I think if Arsenal don't start well, the pressure's going to start to mount. Dowman, obviously a bright spark. He's obviously going on holiday, but you know, I think it's a little bit of a concern that, yes, while the hype around Dowman is incredible, you know, when he's the major bright spark and talking point out of pre-season, that's a little bit of a concern for me, because, you know, he can't be sort of dubbed as this saviour. Obviously, Saka's going to play over him. It's clear he's good enough, but actually Arsenal have recruited a load of players. I have to say, Christian Mosquera was very good when he came on. He looks big and strong, quick across the ground, got smart ability to read the game. He made a few good interceptions. But I just feel like Arsenal need something more, and I think it's probably going to hinge on outgoings and how far they can stretch. I'll have a few more things to say about outgoings in the coming days, because from what I understand, although there's nothing imminent, there are things moving behind the scenes, which I will talk about in the next video. But yeah, if you enjoyed, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back again in the coming days, because I'm going to Arsenal Athletic Club on Saturday.